Hi there, and welcome to Real Lives with Angry Soccer Mom. To most white Americans, the police are there to protect and serve. They have absolutely no idea about the injustice that Black Americans and other people of color endure every single day by the same police that are supposed to be protecting and serving them. It's like we're living in a completely separate world. Hi, Steve. This is because white America refuses, hi Anna, absolutely refuses to educate themselves and face the truth that our barbaric racial history is the root of all the problems we're having today. The truth is, our divided nation today is the result of centuries of white America's sick love affair with white supremacy. Today, systemic racism permeates every component of American culture, yet most white people are completely unwilling to take any racial responsibility to actively dismantle this barbaric system. Hey, Keith. Oh, hi, Lakeisha. And, you know, hi, Victoria. There are few places where racism is more evident than in America's police force and our entire system of justice, or what I call injustice. And it's pathetic. It's time for white America. I mean, it's way past time for white America to start taking racial responsibility. Hi, Melanie. Thanks for being here, everybody. Since the original charter as slave catchers, there's been widespread systemic racism where police officers simply turn a blind eye to their fellow officers' crimes. It basically means they're just as guilty. They're in on it. Many of our modern police forces today are involved in corruption and the form of police brutality, bribery, cover-ups, setups, I mean, false statements, sexual assault. I just read records of a PhD student and his professor who did a study a couple of years back. It's unbelievable. Hey, Leslie. I mean, it's seriously unbelievable. Even rape. Equally disturbing are the documents that have come out about the Ku Klux Klan infiltrating police and hi JS, cops turning a blind eye supporting my opinion of no such thing as a gay. I know, I know it doesn't take much, but this is out of control. This is out of control. Tommy Lauren, oh boy, yes. Thank you, Steve. She needs to listen. I don't think she's going to though, but I mean, the truth is, they're not trained in de-escalation. Their standards are minimum. And what's been done about that FBI's finding of KKK infiltration? Nothing. A couple people were arrested, but there's more, and it wasn't like something that it was widespread, you know? It was widespread, and I'm not saying all cops are corrupt, but this is out of control. You know, there's no accountability, and there's no training. Anna, I just wanted to let you know that I just tried sharing the live show, and thank you. And it wouldn't oh, okay, I am not allowed to see your, It's not letting me see the rest of your comment, but yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. I hope that you're able to. You know, it's unbelievable. With great power, we all know, comes, you know, we know the saying, it comes with great power comes even greater responsibility, but it would be an understatement to say that we aren't even remotely close to living up to this standard. Not even close. I want to know personally, who's monitoring the people who are supposed to be monitoring the bad guys? Because they're not doing it. And I know there are good police out there. Hi, Neil. Hi, Dwayne. Hi, Michelle. I know there are good police out there, but this is not just any job. This is a job where you give somebody the right to take a life with pretty much impunity. And when somebody who, with all due respect, does cosmetology has more hours of training than someone who is allowed to take a life, I have a problem with it. I have a really big problem with it. It says my live show has been deleted. So, is anyone else finding, that's not good. Is anyone else finding this to be the case by any chance? I do not know. I'm not sure what's going on, but hopefully you can see me right now, and I'll definitely share afterwards. So the only people who I know who are really in charge are basically Klan members, Trump and Sessions, and they put the capital R in racism. They encourage the highest sentences. I mean, they're cruel. They literally are Klan members. I'm sorry, and I don't know what else to say about that. I mean, we have. Thanks. Okay, so I'm not sure what's going on with the show. I'm trying to share it on my page, but it says that your live show's been deleted, and it won't let. I don't know what's going on. I had to go out a couple times. That could be it. I'm sorry, Anna. I'm not sure what that's about. You know, sure, we have laws. Everyone says, oh, we have laws, and we do. But laws can't change a person's heart. It can't force a police officer to check their implicit bias or to stop looking at people of color like they're angry criminals. And at every turn, white America, hi Vaughn, has invented covert ways to circumvent following the spirit of equality legislation that would allow some sort of equity from what we've done. White people created this. It's way past time for white people to, the minimum they can do is support equality for everybody, and that means getting educated. So while police are killing black people and people of color at epidemic rates, white Americans are blindly praising our nation's greatness, saying how great we are by singing a racist national anthem, supporting school-to-prison pipeline for children of color, and just basically we have this ongoing system where if you are poor and you land yourself, you know, getting arrested or in jail, you could be there for months or years without a trial, and you might be innocent, but nobody would know. I'd prefer laws to change. Let me see. JS. I prefer laws being changed versus hearts, because the truth be told, I couldn't care less who loves me. You know what, JS? I absolutely get that, but part of the problem is I mean, I know what you're saying. It makes sense, absolutely. But what I'm thinking here, and this is just my personal opinion, I guess, is that laws changing are great, but there are ways. I mean, there are ways around the laws, and what people do is they end up, you know, finding covert ways to discriminate. I mean, if somebody isn't into it, they're going to find a way. And that's my biggest thing. I mean, I truly believe that the reason education is so important is because, I mean, look at anyone who's racist, you know, overtly racist right now. There are laws against it, but they get away with it. You know, they get away with it. So I get what you're saying, but yeah. So we're supporting all this stuff with this ongoing system of total injustice while we're boasting liberty and justice for all and having absolutely no intention whatsoever of actually allowing it. And if this isn't the epitome of hypocrisy, I don't know what is. It's Lakeisha. Did you see the whole female news reporter who outed low-income black. No, I did not see that. I did not see that, but I would love it if you posted on here. I just got finished watching Botham Jean's, basically a march of ministers 45 minutes ago, and I was watching that, and also I was reading about his attorney, which I'll go over some additional information, but no, I missed that because I was kind of focused on this. But yeah, I mean, you know, the large majority of white Americans who claim to support equality for all, you know what they do to dismantle the system of racism? Absolutely nothing. And I know I sound like anti-white. I'm not anti-white. I just want people to start acting like humans. I want them to start being human. This isn't a political thing. I'm actually, you might laugh, I'm not into politics. I really don't know much about politics. My focus is on being human and treating our fellow, you know they're human. Everyone is, and yet we do this to our fellow humans. Our justice system is not broken. It's working just as it was planned. So today in 2018, we're here once again for the gazillionth time discussing another case of, I don't really know what to call it, police brutality. Today's live show's topic is the murder of Botham Jean, whose life was taken from him under very suspicious circumstances. Lakeisha, it helps to make the money. I know, racism, exactly. Racism feeds greed and slavery. I know. It's all about the wealthiest people have, it's a great point. They have a huge stake in this. Racism, systemic racism, is making them money. Because they can make all these laws. I mean, I won't get into it. I mean, I'll kind of go off on a rant here if I even think about it. But absolutely. It's time for Americans to unite and understand exactly who the problem is. And it is not people of color. It is not people in historically marginalized groups. They're the victims. Hi, Jamie. Thanks for being here. They're the victims. Yet the propaganda coming from the wealthiest people who gain the most out of making sure that our fellow humans are oppressed and not allowed to share in the prosperity. No equity. It's disgusting. I don't, just today, for some reason, I'm especially angry. And Leslie, one thing I've learned about white people is that if it's not in their neighborhood, they don't give a goodness. I'm having trouble reading the rest. Make short comments. Yeah, they don't give a damn. Absolutely. Hi, Shannon. I'm so happy to see you here. It truly is white America. The problem, we don't have a black person problem. We don't have a immigration person problem. I'm sorry. We have a white person problem. So before I go off on a total rant, I'm going to, if it's the first time you're meeting me, I'm Angry Soccer Mom, and my goal is to help educate white America about our real racial history. So if you believe, like I do, that it's way past time for white Americans to take some racial responsibility and actively support the dismantling of the systemic racism that permeates every part of our world and country. The goal of each live show, then please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel or joining in one of the platforms that I do for education, or getting an interview on a topic that you're really interested in, or helping me to connect with somebody. I want to help support my fellow humans, and I can't do it alone. I'm not doing it to be some hero. I'm not a hero. In fact, if I could do it without me being on the air, or, you know, without me making videos, I would. But I'm into being a human and doing the right thing. And when people, just a side note, when people thank me, there's no need. I do not deserve thanks for doing the right thing. Nobody Everybody does. It's just we've all made this so normalized. Like, oh, you know, we should be so thankful. Be thankful. This is what humans do. They take care of each other. And the fact that our nation just doesn't seem to get it it's enraging. So, and right now, for some reason, a little more technical problems. I am having trouble reading past a couple lines of comments. So, Melanie says, white people have white codes that they've been able to conquer. That's why they've been able to conquer America. And that's as far as I could read on yours. But yeah, I mean, this, you know, some people say, oh, it's not a conspiracy. Not everything. Some things are a conspiracy. So if you support what I'm trying to do, please join my YouTube channel. Tell people about it. I need help because white America is resistant. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. They don't listen to me either, and it makes me sick that a white person would listen to me over the actual person living it. But, I mean, that's systemic racism. It's a sick thing. Hey, Tim. So anyway, I'm going to go on. See, I kind of went on a rant anyway, but so the goal of each live show is to have open conversation about racism and encourage white Americans to educate themselves about our real history. If you know anybody who wants to join us, who you think would benefit, please tag them in the comments. Feel free to share this. The more it goes around, the more people learn. So that being said, if you want to click on any of the buttons, I guess that helps to get the show seen. It's time to have a forthright conversation about a man who was murdered in cold blood by a police officer who is now lying about it. I'm all for trials. I don't believe vigilante justice is good. But, I mean, my God, in this culture of hate, anything can happen. Police officers are literally getting away with murder over and over because they pretty much have impunity. And the truth about our system of so-called justice is that when you're black and you get murdered by police, you are murdered twice. The second time is their character assassination, and it is unconscionable. Dwayne, let's grow this show, share with friends. Oh, thank you, Dwayne. I want the word to get out. And I kind of, to say it, I don't really have a ton of white friends left to get the word out. So, I mean, I do, but I've chased a lot off, and so be it. So let's start with some facts. About this case, and I want your opinions. Unfortunately, right now I'm having a little bit of technical issues, so they're going to have to be really concise because I can't seem to get the rest of the comments on, but I can see what you're doing if you make them concise, which isn't exactly my middle name. So let's get started with some facts. When Amber Geiger got shot, when she shot Botham Jean, she was not acting in the capacity of a law enforcement officer. She wasn't on the clock. She was responding, she wasn't on the clock. She wasn't responding to a crime. She was an armed intruder who murdered a black man in his own apartment at about 10 at night while he was watching football. Lakeisha. Yeah, I know, exactly, yes. How in the world do you go into the wrong apartment? I know, Lakeisha's saying she killed him in cold blood. And boy, yeah. So, policewoman named Amber Geiger came home after a 15-hour shift and said she got off on the wrong floor and went into the partially unlocked apartment, thinking it was her own, saw a man's silhouette and believed him to be an intruder, gave him verbal commands, and when he didn't comply, she shot him twice and killed him. Hi, Britannia, there's inconsistencies beyond human comprehension with regard to this case. It's enraging. The inconsistencies, her story changed. Her story changed so many times. It's like every hour, every day, new information is learned about this woman who murdered somebody. Melanie, everyone, make sure we share. Oh, thank you. Jamie, what I like is the white European people and this U.S. government to accept the fact that Mexicans, you know what? I cannot see past that comment. I apologize, but I would like to. Martin, they took a blood sample of her that night, and I have not seen the results. I know they haven't, as of now, I believe they have not given the results, actually. Oh, hi, Susanna. Oh my gosh, I'm happy to see you. Yeah, and we're going to talk about in a few minutes some of the things that they've done to protect her. Her story was changed a million times, and that was just the beginning. The original report claimed that the door was locked, and when she arrived home, she took the elevator to the floor that wasn't hers, then went to what she thought was her door, put the key in, and struggled with the lock. However, days later, she reported that the door was unlocked, slightly ajar. So, I mean, this is ridiculous. A video from a resident who lived there showed that all the doors slammed shut. They're automatically locked, unless they're blocked open with something. So, I mean, multiple witnesses said they heard a woman's voice saying, "Open up, let me in." It seems to me that the residents are doing a better job investigating than the Dallas District Attorney and police. I mean, there's just so much suspicion with her. I mean, she's making it up. I don't know. It's not good. And this woman was called a veteran police officer by Fox News. If you're veteran police, aren't you supposed to be trained to be observant and aware of your surroundings and recognize that that's not your home? Is that really asking too much? Timothy, well, the media and the police department seem to work hand in hand in discrediting the black victim. Absolutely. And it's disgusting. It's disgusting. I mean, this woman didn't realize there were red mats on the floor she was walking to her supposed home. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Okay, I'm the most not observant person on the planet. I once stood on the phone while my washing machine was overflowing, and I basically was like standing in the foot. Well, according to the story, I am not observant, but I know what my house is. She's a veteran who saw, I know, Tim, she shot somebody before. Yep, she shot somebody before, and we're going to start talking about it. The whole thing is just unbelievable. The whole case is suspicious. It took 48 hours to identify the shooter to the public. I don't know if everyone's aware of that. As each day passed, there was more suspicious findings. And this wasn't the first time she shot somebody. She had, in 4 years, she'd shot 2 people. And lo and behold, they were both people of color. The other man was a Hispanic man. And then she murdered a black man. And again, I'm not big on vigilante justice, but the way our culture is going with the leaders in the White House telling Sessions to judges have no leeway with anyone. They have to make the very harshest sentencing. Sessions has literally said, I want all my district attorneys to go for the harshest sentencing available with zero. I did a video on it with no chance for any circumstances. That's sick. That's just sick. So even equally extremely disturbing was that, and I didn't know this for days, that Amber had multiple noise complaints to the management about Botham Jean's upstairs apartment. Even on that day, on that actual day, the day of his death, I just found out an hour ago, the apartment managers came by because of what they thought was a noise complaint, and he was home. They spoke to him just an hour, 2 or 3 before he was killed. But Botham, according to his girlfriend, had said that he had just gotten home from work and he wasn't playing loud music, and it turned out that the complaint was from, that the management was talking about was really from the smell of marijuana, which ultimately it was determined that it wasn't coming from his place. It was somewhere up around there, but not his house. And this is all according to his attorney, Lee Merritt. I don't know how many heard about this, but I also saw pictures that were found of the person who murdered him standing with someone who appeared to be giving a white supremacy sign. That OK sign? That's a white supremacy sign. I don't know who else. Hey, Kentu, thanks for being here. Wasn't she? Yes, right. She wasn't home that day. Susanna, exactly. Wasn't she busy doing a 15-hour shift? Yeah, and yet somehow, and please correct me if this is wrong, but there was a complaint allegedly from her about noise, but she shouldn't have been home, right? So, I don't know. There was also a picture of somebody she stood with that, and I don't know. I'm just saying what I've heard to be true. They were standing with her in a photo with an All Lives Matter shirt on. I don't know what to say. These are all adding up. And I am really, really angry, and I know a lot of people are, about how they're protecting her. They're literally protecting her. They made it so she had time to gather up a team to spin a story. Another really suspect thing was that I was listening to some actual attorneys talk about this, and she came home. Hi, Neil. She came home in her uniform, and that's really not a best practice. It should be taken off at the precinct. Apparently, and I'm no expert at this, but by any means, but I have read a lot and watched a lot. Police officers are rarely convicted, obviously we know this, for on-duty killings. It's around 1% the last few years. But having a uniform on and claiming she gave orders that were ignored makes it so that she might be tried as a police on duty. Now, again, I'm not an expert, but I'm going to ask the question. Did she know this? Maybe she knew this. Did she know that she might be able to get away with it? Wearing her uniform and telling a story that I don't know. I'm sorry, but it just sure comes across to me as a cold-blooded murder. So, I have no law degree. I'm just adding it all up. It's not rocket science, people. Now let's talk a little bit about how she was handled with this preferential treatment by her own police department and by all the police involved. Since she was never taken in for 48 hours. Amber had 2 full days to put a team together and create a backstory. That's privilege. That's privilege beyond. Yeah, Victoria, I don't know what else to think. She wants to know, do I think she stayed in the uniform so that it would be I don't know, but I listened to some very convincing attorneys talk about that. Hi, Thomas. Thanks for being here. I appreciate everyone's support. Yeah, I listened to some attorneys talk about it, and I don't know. She wasn't booked until 72 hours later. Martin, let me see. I'm not defending her in any way, but according to the New York Times, let me just finish your. She had just come off a 14-hour shift, and unfortunately, Martin, I am having technical issues, and I cannot see. I'll try once more. I cannot see, for some reason, I cannot see the rest of what you said. So if anyone who's going to make a comment, which I love, keep it really brief. I hate to say it. I never do, but anyway. Let me just see. Oh, Tim. Historical police officers get away with murdering black men. I remember, right, she's right. What we talked about in one of our shows, Tim, is white tears. And there's just, it sounds so simple, but it's very complex. We live in a nation whose culture is based on white supremacy. And it shows. So 72 hours until she was charged. And she wasn't charged with murder. She was charged with manslaughter. I just watched a couple hours back while a former prosecutor, defense attorney, and judge described this manslaughter charge as an extreme deviation from the norm. He told the Dallas Morning News that he wasn't aware of any other cases where a person could shoot someone in the torso leading to their death, which resulted in their death, and is charged with manslaughter. I mean, I don't know. I just saw an hour ago, the police chief a lot of people are very, very upset because she's claiming that, what did she say? That her hands are tied, she has to go through procedures, but a lot of attorneys are saying that's absolutely categorically not true. That, she could do something to fire her. Because people are like, why is she not fired? So there's a lot of, she got preferential treatment. I mean, she got white privilege treatment, and they gave her a chance to, pull a team together. So, and then I know this was also really upsetting how, we talked about earlier how in America, a black person's killed twice. They're killed and murdered, and then they're assassinated. Their character is assassinated. And you literally cannot be allowed to be a good citizen if you're black or a person of color. Our white culture, will not allow it. And it's disgusting. What we do to our black victims, what was done to Mr. Botham Jean, he had to be murdered twice, by this lady and by society. And Fox News really helped out a lot, and I am upset. I know a lot of people are very, very upset. A detective he sought a warrant looking for drug paraphernalia or other criminal activities in the man that was murdered, in the victim's home. Looking for this type of evidence, I was told by a number of attorneys that I watched talk, this is like not consistent with the crime being investigated. But they arrested the protesters overnight. I didn't know about the uniform. Oh, Susanna, I didn't know. They arrested protesters over, can you say police state? I mean, I don't know what to say. It just all adds up, and it just keeps adding up. Hi, Vaughn. But let me just go to the top here. I don't know. They were looking for evidence to show that this was a bad guy. This was a bad man. They wanted to smear his image and make it all about him being a bad man. I mean, they didn't even, they tried to smear his image by saying he had marijuana in his apartment. It might not have even been his. He had roommates. But Fox News jumped right on it. And they're a disgusting attempt to assassinate Botham's character. They claimed that evidence has been collected from Botham's apartment, including marijuana, of course, and conveniently forgetting to mention that no one knows if this evidence collected belonged to him, his roommates, or person walking by. I mean, Fox News said things like he worked as an accountant at a firm. Like he was like the custodian or something. I mean, Instead, he was an accountant with a university degree. I mean, the truth is that he was employed by PricewaterhouseCoopers as an actual accountant. Lloyd says, black people are the only people that are victimized when they're killed. Exactly. Lloyd says, black people are the only people who are victimized when they're killed by police. They're made to be the culprit. It's unbelievable. Martin, I was in the U.S. Army for 9 years and wore the hat and the uniform. That does not make me more I think you're going to say trustworthy then. And again, due to technical difficulties of my phone, I am not able to read the rest of comments, and I apologize because that's hurting. Vaughn says, what gives her the right to come into this guy's apartment and shoot him and act like, yeah, I mean, white privilege, police privilege, and our culture of disgusting white supremacy. And I have to say, I mean, you know Trump. He says police should rough him up and don't be so nice to him. And he is allowing this to, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's been here since the beginning. But he is helping people find their voice and find their way to take racism and turn it into behavioral discrimination that harms and kills. So when Fox News spoke of this case, they mentioned this 4-year veteran. They spoke of her as this 4-year veteran. How is she a veteran? This is not football. How is she a veteran in 4 years who's shot 2 people in 4 years? So, I mean, just as in life, in real life right now in America, it's just what we do to take innocent people of color, people who are black, and victimize them in their life and keep doing it in their death. And it's disgusting. They attempted to make this beloved man some sort of bad guy because he was sitting watching a football game in his own home at 10 at night. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say. If you have any comments that you want to make that are, something I haven't mentioned, or if you know anything that's more up to date than what I have, but I've been trying to stay on top of it. One thing I did want to say is there's never been a time in the history of America where white Americans who are in power have said, you know what? We've had a brutal system of policing that started with as slave catchers and has had so much corruption. When is white America going to get together and say, I will not stand and do nothing while my fellow humans are murdered? And when they're not murdered, they're terrorized by these people who they pay taxes to. This isn't something that people don't know about. We have the internet. There's no excuse. So I want to see if does anyone have anything else to say? I have to apologize for not being able to read people's comments today all the way through. It's like it cut you right off. But it's way past time for white America to pull it together and suck it up and become educated so we can support our fellow brothers and sisters of color. Doing nothing condones. If you're a white American and you do not actively take measures to dismantle the racism in our nation, I'm sorry. you're part of the problem. I guess we can stop here for today. I could go on, and anyone who knows me knows that I could go on and on. I want to thank everybody for being here. I apologize for the technical issues. If you believe it's way, way, way past time for white America to step up to the plate and take some racial responsibility, please support my efforts by subscribing to my YouTube channel. If you're interested in getting involved in any of the educational platforms that I run, I would love it. If you want to tell your story from a non-live interview, I would love that too. Or be in the live show. Or if you just know people who should be in the live show, please send them my way. I need all the help I can get. Lastly, if you like this show, please share it. And I hope that you're here for next week's show for Real Lives with Angry Soccer Mom at 9 p.m. Eastern Time every Wednesday. And I can't thank you enough for the support and for your comments. And I hope I see you next week or hear from you. My message box is always open. So thank you.